Here's an excerpt from my upcoming video about the effects of tariffs on cars, because that's very topical right now. Here's an example. Let's say you are a good American MAGA supporter in Ohio, and you want to own those green cycling libs in your city by purchasing a brand new Ram 1500 for $60,000 before the tariffs. Now let's assume that the actual truck costs Stellantis, or whatever the makers of Ram want to call themselves now, 50 grand to make, leaving the rest as profit for the dealer and the manufacturer. If you work in the industry and these numbers are wrong, I don't care. This is just a thought experiment. No, I don't need to see your manufacturer's invoice. Now let's assume that $10,000 worth of steel and aluminum is purchased from Canada for the production of this cyclist-crushing behemoth. Doug Ford would approve. Now let's say the steel is transported to a US factory to make the chassis. Again, I don't care how trucks are actually made. This is just being illustrative. With a 25% tariff, this steel would now cost $12,500 when it enters America. Now let's say that we add $10K worth of parts and labor in the US and ship it off to Mexico, where they add another $10K worth of parts and labor to the truck. Ordinarily, this truck would cost $30,000 when imported back into the US at this point, ignoring the cost of shipping for now, as well as any exchange rate effects from the tariffs. Now normally we would add another $10,000 back in the US factory, with $10K left over for overhead, sales and admin costs. Think like the CEO's salary and all those fancy ads you see on TV. The final cost is $50,000 to Stellantis, and then it would go through their dealer network to finally be sold to the Ohio man for $60K. But with the tariffs, the truck that is brought in from Mexico would cost $32,500 and would require an additional 25% Trump tariff, bringing the total to $40,625. If we then add another $10K at the final factory like before, and then tack on another $10K for the overhead, general, and admin costs, this car now has a cost of $60,625. Even if Stellantis and their dealers took literally zero profits from this, the final cost to the Ohio consumer would still be higher than before. If the manufacturer and dealer gross up the cost the same as before, sticker price would be a whopping 20% higher than before, or $72,750. And just to keep Gen Z and the audience entertained, Trump, your tariffs are mad cringe, bro. And I ain't capping, for real, for real. I'm so sorry you had to hear that. So who pays this tariff then? Well, the Ohio man, of course, when he buys the more expensive truck. But also, if the Ohio man cannot afford the more expensive truck, then he will not buy it, leading to a deadweight loss because of one less truck sold by Stellantis, and the countless fewer libs owned. I mean, at this point, you might as well have voted for Kamala. Well, you thought there would be an Ohio joke in there somewhere, didn't you? That would have been giving them more credit than they deserve.